For 30 years after the Great War, Sri Krishna ruled over the kingdom of Dvaraka. During this time, the Yadavas, Krishna's people, lived in peace, wealth, and prosperity. Life was easy, and they faced no serious threats or challenges. However, because they no longer had to work hard or stay united, the different groups within the Yadavas, like the Bhojas and Vrishnas, began to fight among themselves. Over time, the Yadavas became lazy, proud, and overly focused on enjoying their lives without restraint. One day, some wise sages came to visit Dvaraka and meet Krishna. A group of young Yadavas thought it would be funny to play a prank on the sages. They dressed up a young man named Samba to look like a pregnant woman and took him to the sages. Mocking the sages, they asked, "Can you use your great wisdom to tell us if this woman will have a boy or a girl?" The sages saw through the trick and were deeply insulted. They cursed the Yadavas, saying, "This woman will give birth to an iron mace that will bring destruction to the Yadava clan and end their greatness." Months later, to everyone's shock, Samba indeed experienced labor pains and gave birth to an iron mace, just as the sages had predicted. The Yadavas, realizing their joke had backfired in a terrible way, hurried to Sri Krishna and explained what had happened. Krishna, disappointed in them, said, "You have disrespected the sages, and now we must deal with the consequences. Take the iron mace, grind it into fine powder, and throw it into the sea." They did as Krishna instructed, crushing the mace until only a small cone-shaped piece remained. They threw the powder into the ocean, and the waves carried it to the shore, where tall reeds began to grow from the dust. A hunter found the cone and used it as the tip of an arrow. Believing they had escaped the curse, the Yadavas soon forgot about it and went on with their lives. The Yadavas loved celebrating and hosting festivals. One day, they arranged a grand celebration on the beach, drawing a large crowd. The Yadavas gathered in large numbers by the seashore, celebrating with dance and drink. The Great War of Kurukshetra, fought many years ago, was still a popular topic of conversation throughout the land. Warriors who had fought in the war were honored as national heroes, and their stories were told and retold. Even after 36 years, the effects of that war could still be felt in the Yadava kingdom. Two warriors, Kritavarma and Satyaki, had fought on opposite sides during the war, Kritavarma with the Kauravas and Satyaki with the Pandavas. Though the battle between great armies had ended long ago, the quarrels among the Yadavas still lingered. During the festival, some drunken Yadavas began to criticize Kritavarma for his actions during the war, accusing him of killing warriors while they slept. Satyaki, without realizing it, became their spokesman. What started as a light-hearted discussion turned ugly as the effects of alcohol took hold. Satyaki stood up and angrily declared, "Kritavarma, no honorable soldier would stoop so low as to kill sleeping warriors. You are nothing but a cold-blooded murderer, and the Yadavas are ashamed of your cruel actions." Enraged by this public humiliation, Kritavarma shot back, "You have no right to judge me. You yourself only survived because Arjuna saved you. You killed Bhurasrava when he was defenseless after losing his arm. Wasn't that a cruel act of murder in broad daylight?" Tensions rose quickly, and before anyone could stop him, Satyaki leapt at Kritavarma and cut off his head with a sword. This act of violence ignited chaos. Kritavarma's followers attacked Satyaki, and soon, the entire crowd of Yadavas was drawn into a wild brawl. In their frenzy, they grabbed the tall rushes growing by the shore and used them as weapons. It became a free-for-all fight where no one knew friend from foe. The Yadavas began to kill one another in large numbers. Pradyumna, Krishna's son, rushed to help Satyaki, but both of them were killed in the drunken battle. Krishna, witnessing the death of his son, became consumed with anger. He joined the fight and struck down many Yadavas without mercy, using the same rushes that had grown from the cursed iron dust.